Hey guys, it's Julie Malillo. I'm a life coach here in Manhattan. My website is yourdreamslifecoach.com. And today I'm going to talk about bullies online and why they make you feel bad and what they're really doing, why it's not about you, and just some ways you can feel better about it and cope with it because unfortunately, there are a lot of bullies online. Just look in the comment section of like any video or um, any kind of comment section on Facebook articles or whatever. There are some mean people. So I'm going to take you through like what these people are doing, why they're being bullies. I'm going to try my hardest not to spill my tea. Got this cool matcha tea, but I'm very like clumsy lately. So I'm going to like hope that this does not go flying anywhere. That's my main goal in this video, is to not spill my tea. But beyond that, oh, there goes my hair. Okay, I'm just having like one of those days. I just feel like very clumsy. Like my nail polish just fell off too. Anyway, hopefully that's not some kind of bad luck thing. So bullies, all right. So you have maybe made a video and then someone writes something really mean, or maybe you put a comment on like Instagram or Facebook and someone just starts attacking you for no reason and you're like, what is going on? Why is this person being mean to me? Okay, so the first thing to do is to just like step back from it and really ask yourself, like, does this make sense that this person would be attacking me like this? Like, did I say something that was really offensive? Or is this kind of coming out of nowhere? And it's important to ask yourself that because you still want to stay open to feedback even though there's bullies out there. And that's a tough thing to do. You can't just wall yourself off and say like, oh, they're just being a hater. You have to consider what they're saying and see if there's truth to what they're saying so that you can improve, right? You don't want to stagnate because you've just built walls around you saying, oh, I'm not listening to any of the haters. Well, then you're not listening to anybody either. You want to take in that feedback and separate out who's just being a hater and who maybe doesn't agree with you but has some valid points for you to listen to. So that's the first thing to do. And if you do determine that this is just mean, like it's just, it's out of the blue, it's for no reason, they're attacking your character, they're insulting you, and there's nothing really to learn from it or to gain from it. It's not constructive at all. It's just like, you're a terrible person, I hate you. And it's really just that you don't agree on something. You have to know it's just not about you. It is about them. Now, I have a lot of videos on narcissism here that I really recommend you watch if you are like concerned about being bullied, because most of the people that bully other people tend to be narcissists, and it's just what a lot of them do. So the thing to get is that when these people go online to bully, think about what that means. That means that in their real life, they can't find anybody to bully. That's really sad. Like, no one in their real life will keep them around to the point that they can bully them. So then they have to turn to online. So they don't even have like a single person in their real life who will hang out with them that they can beat up on. So that's why they go online and they go after you or whoever else they can find. They are desperate to feel better about themselves by putting someone else down. And that's really sad. And that has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. Let me say that again. It has nothing to do with you. And that might not sink in. That's the hardest part. That's why people get so upset about bullying, because they think it's true. They think, why would someone say this to me if it wasn't true? Like, why would someone say that I'm a loser unless I'm really a loser? Well, this is why. It's because they feel so bad about themselves that they have to try to push someone else over to feel better about themselves. And that's really sad. And not only are they a bully, but they can't find anyone to bully in real life. So they've gone online. And usually at that point, they're like pretty desperate to get that attention. They're pretty desperate to find people to be bullied because they just can't find it anywhere. And I know it's a sad thing, and like I do hope that someday we can like find ways to help narcissists and people with these personality disorders that bully other people. Now, I'm not saying that every single bully is a narcissist. You could have someone who's just feeling particularly insecure that day, but for the most part, somebody who has empathy, even if they're having a bad day, it's not really going to make them feel any better to put someone else down. If anything, it's just going to make them feel worse. So usually they don't resort to that. Now, they might be kind of grumpy, or maybe they're a little bit not as tactful in what they say, but they're probably not going out of their way just to attack strangers and insult them and put them down and argue with them. Okay, so that's one thing that's going on. Now, another thing that happens sometimes is these narcissists, and I'm not saying every narcissist acts like a bully, because some narcissists really don't, especially narcissists that have enough attention in their lives. Sometimes they really don't do that. It sort of depends on what's going on in their life. But the ones that are just desperate for attention and they can't find anybody to give them that attention, they will turn to the internet and bullying people. So what happens sometimes is they get triggered, and let me tell you what I mean by that. So let's say that you write a comment, and let's say that there's a video of someone kicking a dog, and people are saying, this is so horrible, like, you know, let's say you write a comment and you say, this is so mean, like, I feel so bad for that dog. And then this person comes and then they say, you know who's mean is you, because that's ridiculous. You can't even see the humor in this. Like, you're so uptight. I bet you're fun at parties. Like, you're obviously like a horrible person to even write a comment like that, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, wait, what? Like, how could they possibly disagree that it's a good thing to kick a dog and for them to think that that's funny, right? So usually what happens when someone goes off the deep end like that, they got triggered because they basically saw the truth and it freaked them out. And that has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. It's not your problem. You don't have to even deal with it. You can just ignore these comments, guys. Like, you don't even have to reply to them, because truthfully, you know, you can reply if you want, but it's not really going to fix anything or help anything, because that's just how this person is. They're deeply insecure. Hopefully they can find a therapist. Hopefully they can find people that can, like, help them harm other people less, but that's not your job to do that. That's for them to do. And so you're not going to be able to fix them just right then and there, or change their mind. Most of the time they're just already down that path and you're just along for the ride, because this is a conversation between them and them. So if you notice, if you try to argue with these people, they just won't see your point, and they're going to just get even more stubborn about insulting you, and, you know, and they get enjoyment out of that, which is very pathological. That's how their brain is. Now, I'm not a therapist, so if you want to know more about this and have someone diagnosed and all that, you can go to a therapist and a psychologist, social worker, pay for a session, and they can help you with that. I'm a life coach, so I don't deal with this in my actual coaching as far as like diagnosing people or any of that, but of course we will talk about insecurity and confidence and dealing with situations and coaching, of course, because we work in the present moment towards future goals in my coaching. So when this person comes and they just attack you like that, let me go back to the dog example and get into that a little bit more. So if they're the kind of person who comes home from work and kicks their dog and then thinks it's funny, which is really sick, but if they do something like that, okay, and they walk in and they kick their dog, and their dog is like, and they're like, oh, it's so funny, oh my god, did you hear that? He barked. That's really a terrible example, but let's say that they do that, and then they see this Facebook video of someone kicking their dog, and everyone's saying, what a terrible person. It's going to flash through their mind like, wow, maybe I'm a terrible person because I kicked my dog. But then being a narcissist, they just can't cope with that reality, with that thought. It's too big. They would like explode if they really let that sink in, because they'd have to see the reality of how mean they've been to so many people their whole life, and they just can't handle that. So they take all of that bad emotion. I mean, think how bad that would feel to think to yourself, oh my gosh, I might be a monster. I might be a terrible person. Wow. Like, that would be a hard thing to get your head around, right? So imagine you feel like that, and then as a narcissist, they can't cope with it. So they put that bad feeling onto someone else. They vent out the bad feeling by being a bully and they put that bad feeling onto you or whoever else they can find. So it's really not about you. So they might go to your Facebook comment or your YouTube or Instagram or whatever, where you're like, this is so mean to that dog, this is so wrong, this needs to be stopped or whatever. And they'll say, you're a monster, you're a terrible person, I bet you go and kick your dog and think it's funny. Or they'll say, like, this is totally funny, what are you talking about? Why can't you take a joke? Like, you're so uptight. Like, seriously? Like, get real. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe someone would be as stupid as you to think that this was, like, so serious. It's not serious. It's just like kicking a dog. Like, the dog is laughing. He likes it. He thinks it's funny. It didn't even hurt. Which is something narcissists say a lot. They, like, pretend to know what hurts other people and what doesn't. So anyway, to make it clear, this is totally wrong. There's nothing okay about anyone treating anyone this way or animals this way at all. But I just want you to get your head around it so that you can find a way to not take it so personally. Because these people are pathological. They have a different brain. Their brain, parts of it don't even work. The empathy part, the logical, critical thinking part, they don't light up on brain scans fully. They don't work right. So you have to get your head around that so that you can stop taking these things so personally and not, yeah, they are serious. You should take them seriously, but you shouldn't take them personally, because if they're not beating up on you, they're going to beat up on anybody else they can find. They just want that attention. They want that feeling of putting someone else down. Okay, so when and you didn't do anything wrong. You just said the truth about this isn't right for this dog, but that's enough, and it's not your fault that you did that, but that's enough to trigger this narcissist into, like, the reality of, oh wow, I guess I'm a monster, I don't want to be a monster, so I'm going to take all this bad feeling and vent them onto someone else and attack someone else because I'm afraid otherwise I'm going to attack myself. That's, like, kind of what's going on. Now, this is not something that they're, like, aware of. They're not sitting around thinking, okay, let me then attack someone. Like, they don't think of it like that. They just do it, and they just know they feel bad, and then they feel better when they attack someone. And then they feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not a monster. No, they were the monster the whole time. Now I don't have to worry about it anymore. So that's why they keep doing it, because it feels good to them. It actually feels good to them to bully, and it makes them feel, like, less stressed out, which is not okay. It's not right, and it's not okay for you to be treated that way. But when you can really get your head around this stuff, you can step back and say, like, this isn't about me. This person, they're having a conversation between them and them. That conversation is just over there. It's nothing to do with you at all. So remember that, because you're important, your life path is important, and it's hard to be yourself and be brave and go out there and just do everything you're meant to do in life. It's hard to do that as it is. And then when you have bullies that are trying to bring you down and attack you and telling you things that, like, especially when you're afraid, like, oh, I hope people don't say this to me, and then they say that exact thing to you, it can stop you. It stops a lot of people, but it doesn't have to stop you if you can understand what's going on. But like I said, you want to really separate it out. Are they a bully who's just being mean for absolutely no reason? Or are they someone who just doesn't agree with you, but they're telling you their opinion in a respectful way? And a respectful way is that they're stating their opinion, but they're not attacking you as a person. They're not calling you names. They're not saying you're an idiot. They're not being condescending and saying, oh, you're just so stupid. But they might say something like, you know what, I don't like, I don't agree with what you said, and this is why. And that's not being a bully. That's just someone not agreeing with you. And I think that gets confused a lot these days, that people think someone's a bully just because you don't like green matcha tea like I do does not mean that you're a bully, right? But a lot of people these days, they're like, oh, you're bullying me because you don't like the same kind of tea that I like, and that's not true. So I think that's important to remember. Having a different opinion is okay. Let me make sure I'm not, like, spilling this. Okay, because that's my number one goal. I have a lot of white stuff I have a lot of white fluffy stuff, and I'm also a really messy person. I tend to spill things a lot, so it's not necessarily the best combination. Okay, guys, I hope this is like helping it sink in a little bit that it's really not your fault that people are bullies. They're going to be bullies. They're going to keep doing that, okay? And it's not your fault that they're doing that. And it's when you can see that it's really not personal, and that if you stop engaging with them, they're going to find somebody else to bully. They are. And they just need that attention, and they can't even find that attention in real life, so they have to go online and find some total stranger to bully. Like, that shows you how excuse me, how insecure they really are. Out there's this helicopter that's been flying around. I don't know if you can hear that. I think they're like chasing somebody outside. There's a lot of crime lately in that Far East. Okay, so what can you do about it? So I think the most important thing to do about it is to get really clear on who you are as a person, who you want to be, what you want to do, and then to understand that you don't have to be perfect. And you can take risks and you can try new things. And lots of people might not like certain things that you do, and that's okay. That's their opinion. They're entitled to having an opinion. They're not entitled to calling you names and, harass you and bully you, but they're entitled to not like certain things that you did or said or whatever. That's their opinion. So you need to give yourself the freedom to try new things and to have people not like it, and sort out what is just someone's opinion. Okay, like let's say that you wrote a song and you put it on YouTube, okay, and some people are like, "Ooh, I really don't like this song." Okay, that's their opinion. Maybe they don't like the same kind of music, or maybe there's something there for you to learn from. Maybe there's something about that song that you could make it a little bit better, possibly. That's like for you to figure out. But if they're just coming at you, there's a helicopter again. And my radiator is like going crazy right now. That's what we call heaters in NYC. It's like it's cooking bacon is what it sounds like to me. Doesn't it sound like someone's cooking bacon? Okay, so you have to sort out what is their personal opinion, and maybe you can learn from that. Maybe there's something really useful. Like maybe someone's like, I don't really like this song because it just doesn't have much of a beat. And you might think about that, factor that in, and decide, like, if you agree with that, maybe you do want to put more of a beat to it. Or maybe you're like, no, that's just not me. All my stuff is just not really going to have a beat. That's the kind of musical artist I am. You get to make those decisions for yourself. But if they're coming at you with just like, wow, you're stupid. This is the lamest thing ever. You're just ugly. Like, I don't see how anyone could ever even like you. This is yuck. You're disgusting. Like, if they come at you like that for no reason, or even if they have a reason, it doesn't matter. Like, you should never talk to people like that, reason or not. Like, that's just terrible. That's probably a bully. They have nothing valuable to offer you. They're not giving you information about what they liked or didn't like about the song, or like, oh, I really don't like electronic music, and so I really don't like anything in this genre. Sorry, so I don't like your song. They're not giving you anything really that you can work with. It's just mean. And in that case, you don't have to worry about it. It's like a relief. It's like, oh, that's just their problem. Okay, hope that they can figure themselves out someday and hopefully be less insecure and, hopefully feel more confident and don't feel like they have to put people down. But regardless of whether they change or not, it's not your problem. Your problem is you. In that's your problem to solve. Like, how can you feel better about yourself, be more confident, be true to yourself, go after your dreams, and be strong enough to go after your dreams and be yourself, but also be open to people and be open to the fact that you want to take some criticism in, you want to take thoughts and feedback and be aware of that and not just like block everything out. So that's a kind of fine line to figure out, right? Because you don't want to just make a brick wall and say, oh, they're all haters. Everyone sucks. I'm just going to block everybody. You don't want to do that because you want to be aware to separate out who is a hater and who just doesn't agree with you, who just doesn't like what you're doing, but that's okay because they have, maybe they just have a different style that they like. of whatever it is you're doing. And that's not about you either. We have different things, we have different preferences. You know, think of your favorite color, your favorite ice cream flavor. Not everyone's going to have the same one. That's fine. That's just how the world is. So you want to be a little bit open, but you also want to not let a bully destroy you to the point that you give up, which is a real risk, especially for creative people that are doing hard things, artsy things, or business things, or things you have to put yourself out into the world. That's tough because all it could take is one bully who says you suck. And then if you are sensitive and you take that to heart and you say, oh my gosh, I really suck, and then you give up, you've deprived yourself and the world of your talent or your business or your relationships or whatever it is that you need to get out there into the world to do. And you can't do that stuff if you let a bully stop you. So you have to build up your own confidence, your own self-esteem. And it's not that the stuff will just like never hurt you, because you're human, right? It's going to hurt you a bit. And that's a fallacy. People think like, oh, if I'm confident enough, I can be around abusive people and it will just like roll off my skin. No, it's still going to bother you if you're human, right? It's just like a wild, rabid dog is going to bother you if you're human, right? Because it can bite you and give you rabies. You don't want that. But on the other hand, you want to be strong enough that you can see, oh, that's a wild, rabid dog. So I'm going to go inside now. And I'm going to call the animal patrol and make sure that dog gets to the dog hospital, right? Like you want to protect yourself is what I'm saying from these bullies, but also understand that that's not your fault that a wild rabid dog came and bit you. Okay? You're just walking down the street. You're just doing your own thing, right? And that's going to happen. Wild rabid dogs exist, bullies exist. There's a lot of them these days. I'm talking about bullies. Luckily, I don't think we have a lot of wild rabid dogs. I don't know. Someone let me know. Actually, don't let me know. I don't want to know. There's a lot of dogs outside. I live in Manhattan and there's like lots of dogs on the street, and I don't even want to think about if there were wild rabid dogs everywhere. That would be really, really scary. Okay, let's not talk about that. Anyway, I just don't want you guys to get stopped by bullies. And so what you can do about it, like, if you're sitting there wondering, well, what do I do about it though? That's what you do. You work on yourself, your self-esteem. You get clear on like, okay, like let's say that you want to put songs on YouTube. Like get clear of like, why do you want to do that? You know, is it that you just want to make people happy and like share something you made, and then just do it. You know, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need, you know, like lower that bar of just expecting perfection from yourself all the time, and just focus more on doing things that help yourself and other people too. So if that will help you and other people to have a good day, to like, oh, this is a fun, happy song, or this is a nice emotional song or whatever, put it out there. And then if you're helping other people and you're doing something that's good for them and good for you, that's all good. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with doing that. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be bully proof. People sometimes get perfectionistic because they're trying to wait until it's just perfect. And oh no, I need to go like repaint my nail because it just fell off, and otherwise it won't be perfect. And some bully will be like, oh my gosh, you don't even paint all your nails. What kind of person are you? Wow, that is just so ew. Like that's ew. That's yeah, I don't like you. You suck. Like yeah, someone could write that. Go ahead if you want to. I don't really care. But I really don't care because my nail polish did fall off on that nail, and like, okay, you know? So just don't feel like you have to be perfect with everything, because even if you are, really, I mean, look at celebrities that have these like as good as they can be songs and music videos, and they put so much into their makeup and appearance, and they still get torn apart by bullies, don't they? So you can't bully proof yourself, but what you can do is actually feel good about yourself and just not tolerate someone tearing you down. Just ignore it. You know, you can block them or whatever. Just don't let them ruin your day. And if you are letting people ruin your day, something you can do is to put a reminder. So on your computer or wherever, or on your phone even, put something there, whether it's a little note to yourself, whether it's a little object and something just happy. Put a reminder, hey, you're being you, you're putting yourself out there, you're trying to do good things for you in the world. And if bullies are going to be there, those are just the rabid dogs of the world. They're going to be there. It's not personal. It's not about you. And just like take a breath and step back and know this person is just having a conversation between them and them. It's nothing to do with you, right? So, I don't know, if you have some cute little object or some funny little object that you have, maybe put that by your computer so that when you see comments like that and you're like, oh, they didn't like my song. They think that I sound like a goat or a sheep or I don't know, whatever a bully would tell you. And I can't believe they said my voice sounds like a goat. And you just like want to cry. Look at your little object and remember, that's just like a mean thing to say. That's not about you, right? And I mean, you can think about it. You can be like, do I sound like a goat? Do I need to work on this? And you can ask yourself that, but like, don't take it so personally, right? Like, remember, people, even if you did sound like a goat, some people like that. There's a lot of singers that sound kind of a little bit like a goat, and that's not bad. People like that. So be you, and don't worry so much about these bullies online. And remember, a lot of them are narcissists and they have a different brain. And you can watch some of my other videos on that. They have like a really different brain. You can't fix it. They're just trying to be mean and get attention. It's nothing to do with you. And take some feedback, from people that you think have good intentions. But when it comes down to it, it's your decision. You don't have to listen to other people's feedback. You don't have to do everything their way. So even if they do think you sound like a goat or whatever, that doesn't really mean you necessarily have to change how you're singing. Maybe you like sounding the way that you sound. Or maybe you do want to change it, but just a little bit. You get to make those decisions. So I hope that was interesting, guys. And please comment, subscribe, like, share it with people. Share it with some who maybe was getting bullied by some people online. Just to remind them, hey, it's not you. There's just some bullies out there. And, keep doing what you're doing. Because the truth is, the world needs everybody. The world needs everybody to do your best and give everything you have to the world. Everything good that you have to give, you should. Because it makes you feel better. It makes other people feel better. And why not? That's like kind of why we're here. So if you guys want coaching, go to my website, yourdreamslifecoach.com, fill out the contact form, send me an email, and I will send you rates. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.